Now, I want y'all to know that we're going to be talking about Real Housewives of Potomac today, season 6 reunion part 3. But before we dive into that, before we dive into the goodness that was last night, we got to talk about this real quick. Selling Sunset. Okay. So, Selling Sunset season 4 is premiering in just 2 days, y'all. 2 days. But that ain't even really what I really want to get into. It's this that I want to get into, baby. Selling Tampa, okay? Selling Tampa season 1, baby. Season 1 is coming. What day is it coming? I think it's coming December the 15th to Netflix. Now, let me tell you something right here. I am excited about this. This looks like it is going to be all the way lit. There's a promo that's already out. Check out our good friends over at TV Deets. You guys can see the trailer there. I would play it here, but you know that content don't belong to me. So instead, I want you guys to head on over there and watch it for yourselves. But baby, it looks like it's about to be all the way lit. But now it's time for Potomac, baby. What is going on, Skye Squad? We are back in the building. Happy Monday to everybody out there. Listen, I was running a little bit late, but I had to, I had a friend of mine call, so we had to, chop it up real quick because, you got to pick up the phone when your real friends call. Those people that know you and you know them. So definitely had to pick up the line and get down to the biz naive, but we here. Also, this morning, we did Good Day DC. We recap Potomac a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And we did so with Miss Ashley Darby. Now, I'm going to tell y'all the truth. I never know sometimes whether or not when I meet people that I have to review a show that they on, whether they're going to want to curse me out or not. And she did not. I feel like Ashley is one of those people that just gets it in terms of, the fact that this is entertainment and we got to talk about the entertainment and she's a part of the mix. So I will say that Ashley gets it and she was a joy behind the scenes, baby. She was a joy behind the scenes. So when I get the link, I will put it up. Let me see if I got a couple of photos. Let me see if I could get something on the line real quick. But yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. I mean, she was real good. Now we're gonna be talking about this new episode of Potomac where we have Nicki Minaj joining the ladies, and she does go in on that good Ashley Darby. Oh yes, she goes in on that Ashley Darby. I'm not even going. We can't even front right off the rip. Okay, right off the rip. For some reason, I can't upload this photo. I'll upload it later, y'all. But we gonna get into the thing. Now, I gotta say this. For all of you guys who are in the chatterization, Nicki Minaj, baby, Nicki did the doggone thing last night. Now, whether or not you like her or not, I can't help you on that one. But what I can say is, as a host, she came in and she did the doggone thing, okay? She did the doggone thing. She energized the stage when she got on, man. It was just something that was needed. And I felt like, because for a second now I was like, oh, I'm getting a little tired while I was making the review last night. But she brought that necessary energy. And here we are earlier on Good Day DC. With Ashley Darby. The interview was great. It was juicy. I did ask her who was the better host, Nicki or Andy. And she gave a very politically correct answer, as I suspected that she would. All right, so let's get down to the episode. We're going to do our regularizations. Side note. If you are in chatterization, let me know where you're watching from. You know how we do it. I didn't really get a chance to ask that because we had a whole lot of announcements that I needed to make. Real quick. We are doing a 30% off sale on our organic greens for Amirin this week, Black Friday. Get your organic greens. You know you're going to eat somebody's macaroni and cheese this week, and you know you're going to be stopped up, okay? And so what you need to do is go ahead and get you some of these good old greens here so you can unstop yourself. You know what I'm saying? So you can get things back moving after you eat somebody's macaroni and cheese that you know that you shouldn't be eating, okay? Now, with that being said, rating the episode. Last night, I'm going to give it a 10, okay? Let me know what you guys will rate the episode in the chatterization down below, okay? And why? I want to know why. Don't just give me, I mean, you can give me the 10, okay? But you can also give me a little bit of why. And for me, I'm going to give it a 10 because I just felt like, again, Nicki brought some energy that had just been kind of missing, okay? Something had been missing, and we had a super chat up here, and I can't see. Oh, here it goes. Jupiter Bryant says, the preview for next week of Nicki's questions had me clutching my pearls, baby. Absolutely, Jupiter. Thank you so much for the super chat. I was clutching my imaginary pearls as well, like just thinking to myself, like, what is really about to happen? And I will tell you guys this. You know, if you're going to have a 4-part reunion, this is how you want to bring in part 4. You want to end part 3 because we tied. You want to end part 3 by really going, you got to bring out some big guns for part 4. And so I feel like Nicki definitely just gave it that extra shot of adrenaline that it needed to really reinvigorate the audience and to shake the table on these ladies because they needed the table shooketh. And Nicki can ask the questions that Andy just cannot ask. You know what I'm saying? Because these women will be calling and texting him and probably trying to go off on him, you know, thinking that he's, you know, taking one side or another. But he told Nicki, girl, you can take as many sides as you want to. Okay? Take as many sides as you want to. You know what I'm saying? So we about to get into exactly what happened last night. Okay? We about to talk about it right now. Now, we start the episode off with Giselle and the tummy tuck conversation, you know, with Wendy asking, well, you had a tummy tuck. Did you keep Jamal? Okay. And, you know, we got a super chat. JD says 9.5, 0.5 deduction for them stale receipts Wendy started with. Oh, baby, we about to talk about that. We about to talk about these receipts. Okay. We're going to talk about it. Okay. Giselle says, I didn't have plastic surgery for a man, and Wendy is like, well, exactly, okay? And so then they played the clip of Giselle talking about how she felt like there may have been some, you know, with the rumors out there, it might have been why Wendy was overcompensating and then might have wanted to go enhance her body because these rumors about Eddie was out there, which to me didn't seem to really make any sense at all. Wendy says she got plastic surgery because she had 3 kids. Mia says, did you get your booty done because you had 3 kids? Wendy, in probably one of the most honest answers in reality TV history, said, exactly, I had nothing back there, okay? So if you are flat as a pancake and stiff as a board, you too can just go ahead and get that thing done. Wendy just admitted to it. She was like, girl, there was nothing there. Nothing was back there. So yes, I did it and I'll do it again. Okay. She didn't say that. I made that up, but you know what I'm saying. I feel like, listen, if you flat as a pancake and stiff as a board, you can go and get yourself some too. Okay. Go and get yourself some. Gadget Girl 99DS says, hi Richie, Wendy was doing too much. Love your show. Thank you, boo. Thank you for the love. We appreciate that around here. Give us that love. Okay. Anyway, Andy question comes in. He says, why didn't you go so hard on Ashley? This is to Wendy. Why didn't you go so hard on Ashley, but you went real hard on Robin and Giselle? Thank you, Jade. I appreciate you. Wendy says that she was going to cut the head off of the snake because, as you guys know, that good Iyanla Van Zandt always tells us the fish stinks from the head down. And so Wendy, she went in to chop off the head of the fish because don't nobody want to eat fish with the eyes looking at you. So you got to cut it off, okay? You got to cut it off, cut the thing off. So that's why she went after Giselle. She was like, because I know Giselle was at the head of this. Angel says, Real Housewives is done. Andy is biased and don't know what's going on. Candiace is toxic and draining. Everything is scripted and not fun anymore. Well, Angel, we gonna make it fun today. Okay, we gonna make it fun today. Thank you, boo. That's a cute picture too. Wendy reveals that she was upset with Robin because she was the one who sent her the text initially about the article that was written about her and Eddie or whatever. And Robin claims, well, girl, I had no idea what Ashley had told you about your husband because you and I had already talked about it before. So I thought that maybe, just maybe, this was something new. Okay. Now, as I was listening to Robin, I said to myself, well, she sounds almost believable. That could be it. And I had to stop myself. I said, self, are you being gaslit by Robin as well? Because in my mind, I was thinking to myself, now I don't know who to believe. And this is how it happens when you are being gaslit. I will tell you the truth. You get so confused in your own mind, you start to listen to what the person who is gaslighting you is saying, and then you start to questioning your own sanity. And that's what I was doing last night. I too was being gaslit along with Wendy. Okay. So then Wendy has to pull out the poster board, and I ain't got no example to show you, but she did pull out the poster board. I do got an example. She pulls out the poster board and basically points to it and was like, here is where you text me, Robin. This is what you said. So Giselle is rolling her eyes. Robin is rolling her eyes. And Candiace is making a whole lot of faces. Now, I just want to take a side park real quick. Chastity says, here come the third grade science project. Y'all are silly, okay? So the poster board was meant to display that Robin was claiming in the moment that she did not know what Wendy was talking about, what Eddie rumors. But Wendy brought the poster board to show, yes, you did know because you are the one who texted me about it. We, the audience, knew that. But I think what had then happened is Wendy probably, in my mind, took a cue from Monique from last year and said, listen, I know what these girls are going to do because I saw them do it last year. So I need to have some proof of everything that I am saying in order to justify what it is that I'm saying. But little did she know the ladies would just simply try to downplay the receipts that she was bringing and try to make her seem like she was overreacting. And that is where we get into the gaslighting of it all. So it didn't matter that, and I think that was the reason why Wendy's receipts may not have landed as well with the audience or with Andy, because really, I mean, all they did was downplay what she brought out, okay? And all they did was try to make her seem like she was the one who was overreacting when it was her husband being discussed. Bottom line. So that's what they do. And they do it very well. And even to the point where, like I said, I was like, oh, I'm questioning myself now. Did that really happen like that? Did it really happen like that? I don't know anymore. I'm confused. But again, it was Candiace's reactions that I found the most interesting. In my mind, I'm just going to go ahead and tell y'all, in terms of the show, I feel like Wendy is a better friend to Candiace than Candiace is to Wendy. Because there is no way that while if Candiace had been bringing out receipts like that, Wendy would definitely not have been over there in her head, in her chair, chuckling at her and giving her eyes like that. That's just me, but I could be wrong, okay? Santeria says, Richie, Wendy is correct. Robin tried to change it up now and people don't want to see it. Robin knew there was one rumor. That's exactly how I feel too. But, you know, I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore. Anyway, Robin keeps saying she thought it was a different rumor. JMW says Wendy's beef with Robin is dumb to me. She just wants something to be mad about. I believe Robin because she didn't know at the moment. Thank you, JMW, for the super chat. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of the way Robin chimed in with I didn't know which rumor you were talking about. I don't know. It did make me question myself, and I'm still questioning myself today. So I don't know how to think about it. We're gonna move on. Andy says, if you were concerned, Giselle, if you were concerned about Wendy, why didn't you take her to the side like you did with Robin? And Giselle says, well, I was, but she kept getting so defensive when we was trying to talk to her about her surgeries and stuff. Oh, Giselle, no, you wasn't. If you was going to talk to this girl about it, you would have found a way to talk to her about it any other time. As many times as you ran around talking to Ashley about it, you could have definitely picked up the phone or set up a meeting or a time and a date to film a Ponderosa with Wendy to review why you were concerned about her at all. T-Net says, boom, Richie, Candiace was pretty doggone mute. She was mute, but she was making a whole lot of faces. But, you know, maybe it was just me. Andy then says to Giselle, well, don't Wendy's kids matter when you expose a false rumor about her father? Because when Karen was she says that the question is, if Giselle was so upset with Karen about talking about Jamal, why doesn't it matter about Wendy's kids when she is talking about Eddie? Giselle says, I would hope they would be happy about it that these ladies on this show are saying it's not true. And let me tell you something. I was like, now, are you serious? Oh, I get it. These kids are supposed to say, well, thank the Lord. Thank the Lord Giselle brought it up on the show and she said she don't believe it. Thank God Giselle said it and she said she don't believe it. Thank God she brought it up on the show because, listen, I don't know where we would be in life if she didn't bring it up on the show. What kind of sense does that make? None. Okay? None at all. Jade says, I get frustrated at American audiences' unwillingness to understand foreign values. Just because you are Americanized doesn't mean your values and your reactions are. Elaborate on that one, Jade, so we can get a better understanding of what which are the foreign values that you're talking about, so I can just have a better understanding. Okay. Andy then asks, well, Wendy, why do you think you're exempt? Now, these are a question from the audience. Okay, from the audience. Wendy, why do you think you're exempt from husband rumors when it happens to everyone else on the show? Ashley then chimes in and says, everybody is fair game. Wendy says it was calculated because Giselle didn't mention anything about herself having been mentioned in the same blog. Giselle continues on and says she was talking about social media. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Giselle? What are you talking about? We're not talking about the same thing. You are basically just skirting around the issue. You knew what you were doing. You knew when you brought this rumor to the show that it was going to become a topic of conversation and you wanted it to be a storyline and you were being messy. Just say it, okay? Because anything else is just skating around the truth. Giselle then says that she and Wendy didn't talk. So Wendy brings up interviews where Giselle said that they did. Then they get into whether or not they talked or not and how long they talked. And then Wendy brings out the folder of receipts from the loose leaf printouts of the Sprint phone bill, okay, that indicates the time and the date and the duration of the call in which she and Giselle talked, okay? Now, Andy is looking at the loose leaf paper like, girl, last year we had a binder. Now we got this loose leaf in a file folder. This is the fall, okay? This is the fall. That's what he said. Super chat. Angel says, please tell me what is Giselle and Robin's storyline. I'll wait. Ooh. Jay says the constant cry of Wendy is doing too much. As a West Indian, I totally understand her reaction. I'm not playing nice after you do what Giselle did. Personally, I agree with you, Jade. I am simply saying that there are times when I do feel like Wendy's reactions are a little bit, they could be over the top, but I don't, the passion behind what she's saying, I feel like it's 100% true. She saw this happen last year, so she knows exactly what's happening to her this year. So, and who wouldn't be upset when these ladies are talking about someone's husband when they, no, you can't do that. And then I do agree, some of these ladies are trying to make her seem like she is the crazy person here when they did this to her. No. Andy then asked if there are any other apologies that anyone wants to make in regards to this situation. Giselle is like, nope. Ashley says, I feel bad that you thought, Wendy, that we were shaming you for embracing who you are and your femininity. And then Wendy accepts it. So then they have a break, okay? Wendy tells Ashley to smooth down her hair in the back. Because, you know, the longer you sit there, I'm assuming the longer your hair might puff up. You know what I'm saying? Because it could be hot in the room. I don't know. We get into Robin's package, okay? We get into her. Oh, wait. Michelle says, it's not that Wendy isn't justified. She needs to read better. She needs to meet with Phaedra Parks to learn to read them chicks. Okay. I mean, and maybe that could be it. Maybe that could be it. Thank you for that super chat. We get into Robin's seasonal depression. Andy says it hurts to see her passing up all these opportunities with TJ Maxx and Macy's and everything else that she was passing up. I would like to have seen a letter or a correspondence from Macy's and TJ Maxx. You know what I'm saying? That's a missed opportunity right there to not have the camera crew show us the fact that her business is popping like popcorn. Because at the end of the day, I feel like that adds an element of excitement to her story. You know what I'm saying? So we should have seen that. That should have been made into more of a bigger deal. Robin missed all types of opportunities because she was, I mean, what? She has seasonal depression, which is a real thing. But I felt like here on the reunion, she downplayed the idea of her having depression. So it was just a seasonal thing, I'm assuming, based on what she said here. I was kind of clueless. And I thought she did miss an opportunity as well to dive further deep into, you know, what depression is for different people. And I just, again, and I listen, if she's being honest, it is what it is. But again, these are missed opportunities that I feel like would further her story. And she's just not taking advantage of it. And I don't know why. Tish says that wasn't Robin's package. It was a flyer. JMW says it's Wendy's karma for Monique. Don't join in the BS. Well, so, yeah, I mean, I wanted to get a hat from her, but every time I went to go try to order, it was sold out. And so I need to figure out, like, well, when is it back in? Bruce says, Richie, that look on your face, you was about to be real shady. And I agree. We should have seen it. Her storyline will remain dry. Hashtag Scott. Tina says, it was a story lie.
It was all a lie. Guys, it was all a lie. She lied.
Oh, God. Thank you, Christy, for that super chat. So anyway, last wife standing says Robin should hire Chris answer. Santeria says Robin says she paid for what with her hat money? I'm about to tell you, okay? Robin says that her product isn't expensive enough to really kill it like that in the stores, but what she is killing it is e-commerce. And, you know, as a fellow business owner, I am not mad. Hello, 30% off of my products for organic super greens for Thanksgiving. But at the end of the day, what she then says is she paid her taxes with this. Now, that tax bill was $90,000, okay? Now, hopefully she had already been paid some of that because, you know, with the IRS, you could do a payment plan. But she says she paid for her house with it. Did you pay for the whole house with that? I mean, because these hats must be killing it, okay? That's probably why I can't ever get my hands on one, because I feel like as soon as the stock goes in, everybody buy it and they're gone. I can't even get my hat, y'all. I can't even get my hat. Your camera is a bit shaky, Richie. My camera is shaky mostly because I'm banging the table and moving all around. You know what I'm saying? I'm moving and I'm shaking and I'm moving all around. If I just sat here though, there you go. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. So anyway, the better question is, Robin, will you get married next year? And Robin says, I hope so. Andy says, who in here thinks that Robin will get married? Giselle slowly raised their hand. The hand slowly went up. But otherwise, it was crickets. Candiace then says, well, you know, I want to. I just need to see you talking about wedding stuff. And then Robin just says, well, we're getting married eventually. When? So then Andy turns to Ashley. To Robin. I mean, he asked this question. He says, why is Michael not so optimistic about, you know, Robin and Juan getting married again? Ashley says it's because they've been together so long. Well, why would they want to do it again? Nope. It's probably because Michael knows some things that Juan had told him, which lead him to believe that they will never get married again. Okay? That's what I think. I'm just going to say what everybody else is thinking at this point, because, I mean, that's the truth. That's what I think. Giselle says, you know, Michael wants to have a little getaway a Ponderosa with Juan. Everybody laughing and giggling, but she said it. Oh, yes, she did. So we get to the finale fight with Robin and Juan. Apparently, after he had done rolled up the window on her real quick and almost slammed them fingers in the jam, okay. Apparently, he drove back like Candiace's song. And she told Juan that she was open to having another child until she was 43. Now, she was only open to having another child till she's 43. She's 42 now. What's T? What's happening? When we gonna do it? Because apparently she is letting him now, according to her, she is letting him shoot the club up. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And I said it before. Girl, if I was you, he definitely wouldn't be spraying around me when he put that wedding ring on that finger. Nope, you can't get none of this. Okay, not in that way. How about that? Get married first, and then you can spray it all up or whatever. But for right now, no. Put your foot down, girl. Unless you don't want to get married. Angel says Juan doesn't want to marry his roommate. Y'all so silly. Thank you for that super chat. Anyway, it's break time for the men. You know, the men come on in. Andy goes to visit Nicki in her hotel room to prep her, and Andy wants to know if anybody should be concerned about her. Nicki says that Ashley coming to Williamsburg and spreading the gossip was bothersome for her, and that Candiace may be upset about she heard that Candiace may be upset about the questions that she gonna ask her about her music. That's gonna be good. Santene says Robin needs to let that man go if she don't want him. Let him go. Anyway, Andy also tells her to feel free to take sides if you like. So the husbands come out, well, some of them, and Andy asks if Eddie has gotten mistaken for Idris Elba today. But Giselle is over in the corner like, well, that ain't no Idris. Meanwhile, Andy acknowledges that both Juan and Michael are not there. Randomly, Miss Dot calls Candiace, and Andy asks to speak to her and asks if she has any regrets about her line of questioning at the video shoot. Miss Dot says that they asked her questions. That ain't what the camera showed. Andy says, have you apologized to Chris's face? Miss Dot is like, well, no, not yet. And then Andy says, do you think he's owed that? She's like, I guess. I don't know. What do you want me to say, Andy? Okay. Chris looks all the way annoyed. Okay. All the way annoyed. So we talked to G first. Side note, I wonder, in my mind, I feel like it should almost be mandatory that the husbands have to attend the reunion. If your wife on the show, I just feel like you need to be there too. Like, it need to be in the contract, because let me tell y'all something. These married to medicine men, they shows up for their wives, like sick or whatever. They shows up. And so I just feel like with the way that this show is going, it has been given an extra added boost, sometimes because of the men on the show. So I just think that sometimes they should be required to be there. But that's just me. That's just me. That's just me and my thinking. But, you know, it is what it is. So we talked to G first, and he says he was just enjoying himself and supporting his wife. Mia says that he's always like that when he drinks. So then we get into Ashley versus G, which is, to me, is the oddest fight ever. Andy asks Ashley, why did you get so upset with G when we've seen Michael act worse? And you give him a pass. Now, this was an audience question. Okay. Oh, let me see one more thing. Gadget Girl 99DS says, why is everyone worried about Robin and Juan getting married? Robin has PTSD from the first marriage. Well, there is probably a little bit of truth to that. There's probably a little bit of truth to that. Thank you for that super chat. The question is, why did you get so upset with G when we've seen Michael act much worse? You give Michael a pass. Ashley says, my husband has never been overtly sexual with anyone in this group. Andy says, well, I mean, he said he would suck Juan's Wonka. Okay. He said he would suck Juan's Wonka. Andy, I feel like at a certain point he just said, you know what? I give 0 F's right now. So I'm just going to tell you what I think. You saying he's never said or done anything overtly sexual, but the footage would show you otherwise. And Robin can't even contain herself in this moment. She is too busy snickering. I'm crying, okay? And Andy says, well, that's something sexual. Ashley says, well, did Juan have a problem with it? Fair question. She says it was a joke. Michael didn't even remember saying it. And Robin is like, he did. And then Ashley points to Karen and says Karen perceived Michael differently than G. For some reason, I don't know why she brought her into it. Karen says that she knew G was harmless. But then Miss D Green, I was on the flow. I'm going to tell you, what else can we say? Okay, Andy said it all right. Ashley says Karen, Giselle then chimes in for whatever reason and says Michael has never licked his tongue at anyone. He's never a punani popped. He's never done any of that. And I was like, Giselle, hello? Are you here today? Are you paying attention in class? Because you, as the flashback show, have been one of the main people doing commentary every single time there is an issue with Michael Darby. You was there and talking about how he had been slapped Andrew on the booty, how he was popping around the party when they first came on the scene. Every single time there's been an incident with Michael, it has been Giselle who has been there to spread the word like the town crier, okay? I was like, now come on, Giselle. Now come on. Let's be real here. Let's be real. And maybe you got Ashley's back. Maybe that's just it. You just wanted to have Ashley's back because, Nikki said that Ashley did Giselle's dirty work, but maybe you just wanted to have her back. But at the end of the day, you can't sit up here and make up that tall tale like the cameras are not going to roll back footage and show exactly every single time you said something about anything that Michael has done. Tiffany says at this point, Robin is embarrassed that Juan pays her dust. He is not going to ever, shoot up her club again. Girl, bye. Juan might be I'm not going to even say that. Thank you so much, Tiffany. Appreciate you, boo. Lady 6916 says Giselle has been gaslighting all reunion. Thank you. I'm like, are we at the same place, Giselle? Are you someplace else right now? Are you thinking about what you're gonna eat later? Because I sometimes understand. Sometimes it'd be hard to focus when you're sitting down in a long meeting. You just want to go to sleep, and you might not have really been paying attention, but you got to show somebody that you had something valuable to say. So you just chimed in with the first thing that came up to your mind. But that was not it. Okay, that wasn't it. Anyway, Mia asked Giselle, "Well, girl, if you had a problem with it, why not just address it right then and there?" G says then that he had no intention of hurting Ashley and that he's sorry. And he basically deads that situation before it can go anywhere. And Ashley is straight up taken aback. And and they just kind of move on over it. And I'm glad that he did that because it is always, I think, awkward when the men and like one woman's husband has an issue with one of the other wives. The husband will never come out looking good. So I think G did the right thing by just simply owning it, apologizing, and moving on. And I like that he did that because it also shows he's not holding on to any grudges. He wants to right the wrong. And he, I think, understands his role on the show. And he also wants to be in the good graces of the rest of the guys. And I think because I think that they have that thing. They just all the guys want to get along. Bottom line. So there's a question from Andy that says, Robin, I like you and Juan, but do you ever get tired of making excuses for him not showing up for you? And Robin says, Juan's not an entrepreneur and he's not a businessman. He has to be at work. Jay said we might be getting insight into how Giselle generally handles when people tell her she hurt them. Might be why her daughters say what they say. Maybe. Interesting observation, Jay. Giselle did seem like she was just barely there. I can't really explain it. Anyway, the question is, Robin, I like you. And Juan, do you ever get tired of making excuses for him for not showing up for you? Robin said, Juan's not an entrepreneur and not a businessman. He has to be at work. Wendy then chimes in and says, well, my husband's not an entrepreneur and he's here. Robin says basketball season is essentially year-round. Andy then equates Juan to Jen Shaw's husband, Coach Shaw. Now, I don't know. I do not know about the world of coaching and whatnot. But what I do know is I am sure Robin brings in a significant amount of income by doing the show. And I'm sure that a significant portion of her income goes to the household. So as such, it would stand to reason that he could make some things if he wanted to. Okay. That's just my thought. Because Coach Shaw definitely does make some things when he wants to. Okay. But again, I don't know. It won't no game that day that they filmed, but who knows? I would have just felt like, girl, he could make something. Bruce says, have you seen Ashley's story on IG in the last 3 hours? She posted a boomerang of her and Candiace together, and they were both smiling and looking happy. More on that very, very soon. Okay. More on that very, very soon. Okay. That's all I'll say about that. Andy has a question for Chris. How is it being a husbander? And he says, y'all made too much of that. And I was like, we did? Was it us or was it y'all? Because I don't recall us coming in. I mean, I just felt like that was y'all. That was her story. That was a part of her story. Who made too much of it? It was y'all. No shade, but I felt like we didn't make too much. Nobody else made too much of that. I mean, that's what y'all came to the table with, it seems. So that's what we got to work with. But anyway, he says that he has no dealings with her contracts. Her days start at 3 p.m. and it goes till 6 a.m. And that he's basically a glorified secretary so she can get things done. Now, I like Chris. I do. And I think anytime a man is going to support his wife in that way, I think it is to be applauded and not shaded. Okay? Let me start there. But Chris, we're going to work on the way that you talk about yourself. Okay? We are going to work on that because it starts there. It starts in the mind and it starts with the tongue. You cannot speak of yourself as though you were just a glorified secretary. And ain't nothing wrong with being a secretary either. Let me say that. But I just felt like he was minimizing his role in her success. And I just feel like if you want the world to look at you differently, you got to speak differently about yourself. It starts there. So you talking about everybody else look at you like you broke and ain't got none. Why don't you stop talking about yourself in the way that you're talking about yourself so that people will know to look at you like the man that you are? Okay, let's start there. Now, Kanata says, did you get a chance to watch the episode yet? But I love you. Oh, did not get a chance to watch the episode yet. I love you. And I always wanted to do a super chat. Love you, Richie. Oh, thank you so much, Kanata Royal. We appreciate you. That was so nice. That was I just feel like Chris has to start talking about himself differently. And I think once he does that with this group, then they will definitely respect him a lot more and what he's contributing to her and to their marriage. Not that he needs their respect in any way, shape, or form, but it seemed to bother him that they were speaking about him in the way that they have been and the way that Mama Dot talk about him. Speaking of which, Andy says, why do you think Dorothy rolled her eyes when you said that she's never paid a bill with your name on it, Chris? So Chris says he loves his mother-in-law, but he said that she was wrong, that he did not quit his job when they got married, and that she didn't know anything about his financial status. So apparently, they're still in a rocky place. And Andy asked Candiace, do you think that you're a lot like your mom? She says, yes. So then Andy says, Chris, did you try to holler at Mia back in the day? And so we get into the whole situation with Mia talking about or tweeting about how somebody's husband wanted to toss her salad. Mia basically says that was just a jab. And then Andy says, well, G, what did you think of Mia putting that out there? G does not answer, okay? Mia then rehashes the Twitter war between her and Candiace, saying that Candiace called her handsome. And then Candiace says that Mia is just a fan who's obsessed with her. And then Mia says that Candiace is equally obsessed with her feet. So then Wendy chimes in and goes in on Mia about Mia saying that Eddie couldn't look her in the eyes because he was too scared of her. Mia then says that Wendy is insecure. Wendy says that's what she does. She throws that word around. Wendy goes in, and then she's like, well, that's how we got to you saying that he tossed your salad. He tossed your salad. He tossed your salad. He tossed your salad. And I'm like, now in this moment, I felt like Wendy might have been doing too much. Now, it was just right there that I said, now that's a little bit too much salt on the food. Okay. I was liking the seasoning and the taste of it that you was giving me, but I think you probably put a little bit too much salt right there at that point. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. To me, that moment right there was just a little too salty. You know, I couldn't eat that portion of the meal, but I was liking everything else that was on the plate. I just couldn't eat that part. That was it. That's all. You know what I'm saying? You know, Mia and Candiace arguing about feet was show enough a breath of fresh air than us having to go down the rabbit hole of this yo mama situation anymore. And that's all I'm gonna say about that, because I just don't have the energy for it. Andy says, moving back, okay. Andy then asks Eddie, what's your take on the rumors? You know, were the rumors brought up in a malicious way? Oh, JD says Andy missed an opportunity at that point to bring up Wendy erasing Mia's name off of the marker board during the couples game. I didn't even remember that. Y'all be good. Y'all be remembering stuff. And I'm like, that happened? Dang on it. That's what I get for taking notes. Because I be, you know, the funny thing about it is when I'm watching a show, I'm watching it and I'm listening to it and I'm looking at my computer screen. So it be little things that I miss sometimes. Little visual things that I missed because I'm too busy typing. Maybe I'm a glorified secretary at this point. Thank you for that super chat. There was no Zen win last night. Okay. Andy asked, what's Eddie's take on the rumors? Were they brought up in a malicious way? Eddie says, it was brought up in a way that didn't show concern for me or my children. Yes, Eddie. Eddie comes in peaceful, politically correct, but truthful. Eddie then, Giselle says, you know, Andy asked if Giselle has any response. She says, I think we've already hashed all this out. And then Andy says, do you think you owe Eddie an apology? Giselle says, no, I said 1,000,000 times that I don't believe it. And see, this is the point where Giselle loses me again. I would have loved for her to, in this moment, just simply say, you know what? Even though I said I don't believe it, you know, I apologize if that hurt you. Just give a little bit. Just give a little bit, because otherwise it just left me with a feeling that still felt toxic. Just a little something to at least make us think that this could be smoothed over, but it was still nothing. She just didn't budge at all, and I just was hoping for something different. Andy asked how Eddie and Giselle were on the trip, and they both seemed like they were cordial, and Eddie pretty much just leaves it right there. And I really respected him in this situation, because in my mind, I wanted him to have a little something more to say. But the fact of the matter was, he came in calm, cool, collected, and he was the Zen one in the relationship at that point. We get to Karen's package. There's a part, I don't know. There's a part in the package where Giselle is talking about the DMs that Karen has been sliding into, and Andy asked her about it, and Giselle says that she was just joking. And I thought to myself that the problem sometimes with this show, and not just Giselle's character, because there have been other people who have done it, is when a character says, and I'm only using Giselle as an example, but it has happened quite frequently on some of these shows. If you just say something and you put it out there, you know that people can run with that and then just create the narrative that run with the narrative that you created when you yourself know there's no truth to it. if you're going to argue with someone, argue about the facts, okay? We don't need to throw in extra salt and pepper and cayenne on a meal that's already been made and presented. Sometimes you just need to serve the dish that you made and not actually add some stank on it to make things seem extra funny or juicy. I don't like that. I don't like that at all, because it leads itself to a very slippery slope on these shows. And I feel like that's where they go wrong at. Santane says, question, can the ladies see the flashbacks like we do? I don't think they can. Sometimes they will, when they show a package, you can sort of tell sometimes, like when they're doing the package for the ladies, when they introduce, like, okay, now we're going to move on to Karen. And Karen this season, then they usually have a pre-made package. But sometimes when one of the ladies are talking, then they show something that contradicts what the ladies say. They can't see that until the episode airs. There's a lot of talk about Karen. And Andy asked, why did Ray tell Karen to announce the next extension of her brand into candles? Ray says it's because she wouldn't have done it otherwise, and she doesn't promote herself a lot. Thank you, Xavier, for the super chat. I appreciate you. But then Chris chimes in and he wants to know why it's okay for Ray to do this, but it's frowned upon when he does it and is perceived as riding her coattails. And in my mind, I was like, are you asking this question of Karen? Because she wasn't the one who was talking about you riding your wife's coattails. It was Giselle. Karen kind of responds, but the question, like I said, is really for Giselle, and Andy does redirect it to her. And Giselle says, well, Ray was the breadwinner for 20-something years. I think that's the missing component. And it was very subdued, but it spoke volumes, okay? And that, my friends, is shade, okay? That was shade. When you barely know that it was shady, because it was truthful, it was a comparison, but it was an unstated comparison almost. It was like, and it just rolled off her tongue so politely. And I was like, did anybody else feel that? Because I felt it through the TV, okay? I felt it. And I was like, now that's how you read, okay? Sometimes you ain't got to curse nobody out. You ain't got to talk about nobody's mama. You ain't got to talk about how they look. You can simply throw out a fact. Okay. Miss D Green says that's why Wendy releases the crack. Release the Kraken. She's not with the plan. They better get it right, because we, the audience, ain't with it either. Boom. Thank you, Miss D Green. I will tell you, that was probably Giselle's shining moment in the reunion, because I was like, well, okay. Chris is riled up and he says, did y'all think I lived under a bridge? Y'all act like I don't do nothing, that I'm broke and there ain't been nothing. So then he goes on to say that he had his own house and he was paying rent, I guess mortgage or something, at his own house, but he refused to move in with Candiace and pay for everything in that house as well. So basically, when he came on the show, or when they came on the show, I guess he had his own house. And when they got together and they were living together, he was paying rent at both places, at his place and at her place. And so that's why I think maybe her and her mom were also contributing to the house. So it makes a little bit more sense. But they should have said that way back then. Okay. So we would have known. I mean, not that I was judging, but at the end of the day, I feel like if he had said that, then I mean, we would know. Okay. Anyway. Andy's like, well, back to Surrey County. And I was like, you ain't gonna even let this man get out his thought. Andy was moving on. And a question that Andy has comes in and says, did Karen have a vow renewal just to upset Robin? Karen says, we've had some disconnect, but the vow renewal had nothing to do with Robin. Andy asked the question, what was up with Michael and Juan not wearing their wedding rings? Robin says Juan was under bad influences when he was in the NBA, and so he didn't wear his ring, and so she sold it. Okay, I don't blame you, girl. You better get your money back. All right. Ashley says Michael has the putrins, which creates, I guess, knots on the fingers, and he has to get a shot in his hands to control that. Andy asks, can Ashley admit that Michael is rude to Candiace and Chris? You know, she says his issue with Candiace is that she comes for him so aggressively, so then he takes it out on Chris man to man. All right, so it's time for the break, and the men are done, and they need to go do a reset. Nicki heads down the stairs, and they escort her behind the set. So when they come back from the break, we got some super chats. Hold on. Brizza Lee says Candiace spent the entire first season talking about her upcoming marriage to a broke man getting a prenup and how he has 2 baby mama and 3 kids, and that's where the narrative came from. Well, yeah. We did need that reminder, Brizza Lee. Thank you. Xavier says Giselle missed the point. It's not about whether you believe it or not. It's the fact that you put it out there and you are not remorseful about it. Boom. Thank y'all for the super chats. Okay. Andy says, I need some tequila, y'all. It's just unprecedented, but I'm thirsty. Give me some tequila. And out comes Nicki. I'm here, snitches. I'm here. So Andy gives her the seat, and she takes over as Andiana Minaj. Okay. Real quick, let me acknowledge. Michelle says that little bit with Robin selling Juan's ring, relatable. Where's her real story? Was my favorite part. Oh, she was my favorite part of season 1. But what happened? I will tell you that I related to Robin a lot more in season 1. I really did. So Andiana Minaj is there, aka Nicki Minaj. Okay. She tells them she loves and respects them and to have fun with what she's about to do, because these questions are from her and the Barbs and us too. Okay. So Nicki's like, Ashley, you know, I love seeing you with your babies, and I know you wanted to be home with them, but you didn't really have much of a storyline this season. Is that why you wanted to be Giselle's sidekick and be shady to Wendy? Did you bring your did you bring your breast milk down to Williamsburg to get some camera time, child? Nicki is getting the party started as soon as she sit down, and I'm all the way here for it. Again, I feel like she's asking Ashley a question, and Nicki feels like Ashley should have probably just stayed her butt at home. But then Candiace chimes in surprisingly and says, well, you know, Ashley had just given birth 2 weeks ago, but, you know, she has to work. She's like, we have to work. And Nicki is like, now, whoa, Candy girl. Now, next week, Nicki gonna ask Candiace to sing a cappella, okay? Because, you know, back in the day, well, it's not even back in the day. A lot of times, you know, specifically with rappers and singers, you know, the people gonna want to hear you sing sing on cue, and you got to be able to perform on cue. You got to be able to turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. And Nicki's gonna ask the question, "Girl, can you sing? Give us a little something right now. Give us a little snippet, or not?" Okay. I like the energy that Nicki is bringing. It was very shocking and very surprising to see, like y'all pointed out, Candiace and Ashley. I mean, what does this mean? Does this mean that there's hope for them? You know, because Candiace did come to her defense. So that should be very interesting to see how things work out next week, and maybe to see if there's a path forward for them. Autumn says, I wonder if Wendy is apologetic to Monique now that she knows how Giselle is. Very good question. Very, very good question. Listen, y'all, that was the reunion for the Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 6, Part 3. Next week is going to be super duper lit with Nicki Minaj in the hosting chair the whole hour long. I, again, felt like halfway through this reunion, I was starting to feel a little tired, okay, of taking my notes like a glorified secretary. side note, that was just a callback to what Chris said. Thank you so much, Isata. LOL, sing, Candiace, sing, baby, sing. But when Nicki came out, I will say that it felt like there was, again, a shot of adrenaline that was added to the mix that we desperately needed, you know, to make this 4-part reunion absolutely worthwhile. And I'm super excited. And what it did also make me feel like maybe at a certain point in time, there does need to be some alternate hosts that come in and that can help add some excitement to these reunions, because they've been doing them for so long, and Andy cannot ask all of the questions that a real fan of the show will ask. And it also has to be somebody that the ladies respect, so that they can start to really give truthful questions and that person can hold them to the fire. We got another super chat from MF who says, Candiace throwing the cape on for Ashley was cringy AF. Like, girl. We about to see. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for chiming in. I need to go and probably get me some tea or something like that. I'm going to be back in about an hour to recap Salt Lake City. I don't know if you guys saw Salt Lake City last night, but it was good and juicy. We got Jen Sharp back on the scene. We got more Mary versus Meredith, and the information about Meredith is ending up coming out from Lisa Barlow. There's a lot going on. Meredith is going off. It is all types of crazy. Miss Susu, thank you so much for the super chat. It says Nicki knew what the assignment was and she came to deliver. Absolutely, she did. Guys, make sure you guys check out emirin.com. Again, you're gonna be having these all this macaroni and cheese, all this stuff in this week. So you know you're gonna need you some super greens, baby. You're gonna need some super greens. So head on over to emirin.com and get you some for 30% off this week only. 30%. Okay. With that being said, I love y'all to death. Y'all are so amazing to me. Y'all make doing this worthwhile. I am literally, my voice is almost gone, but I wouldn't change a minute of it. I wouldn't change not one single second of it. So I will see you guys in the next video.